Just good evening, Prashant ji.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. This is regarding the Pakur project that is on food security and livelihoods.
Right.
So I had been there to Pakur and have interacted with the community.
Right.
So we'd like to ask certain questions related to the project.
Right.
How it progressed and what are the outcomes,
Right.
intermediary and final outcomes of the project.
Right.
So like that, so you could narrate your experiences. So I would
Right.
like to ask the lessons learned by the EFICOR staff working directly in the village,
Right.
touching on each of the technical aspects and also community organization,
Right.
extension methods, project planning, project
Right.
implementation.
Right.
So you could narrate, yeah.
Okay. The key lessons learned are at a organizational level, at the headquarter level. I will brief about it. That the project, whatever project we develop, the project need to be developed with a local community participation. If there is no community participation, then there will affect on the effectiveness of the project implementation. So therefore, this project, the project that we have implemented, it is implemented based on the community participation, and also it is also very significant that we need to collaborate and partner with government line departments, and which this project has very well worked with along with the government line departments such as Atma, then agriculture, the extension, as well as they have also worked with NRLM, National Rural Livelihood Mission, and they have also worked with the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, as well as Ministry of Women and Child Development.
Okay.
And so the partnership with the government and collaboration and partnership with the government is very important, in by which actually that has helped the project to connect the community with the government. So by partnering, it has helped the community to be closely work with the government and access the government services and entitlements. That is the one learning.
Okay.
And that is the second learning. And third learning is that when we develop, because of the project management, project performance management framework and indicator tracking table, because the indicators were very clearly spelled out, it has helped the project to track those indicators. Otherwise, generally what happens, if those indicators are not clearly spelled out, then it is also difficult to track those results. But in this project, since the indicators are very well spelled out and clearly mentioned, therefore it has helped our team to track those indicators, because it's a prerequisite of the project management. Because often it doesn't happen that along with the report working with the CFGB and TFN Canada, the criteria is, along with the report, we also need to send them the indicator tracking table as well as performance management framework. So this has helped the project to track those progress, which is very good, because it's kind of a monitoring the project. It will help you to track the progress, which is progressing, which indicator is progressing, which is not doing well. It helps the project team to track the progress and take decision accordingly. So that is one of the third learning of from this project.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this from especially at the community level, you have implemented earlier other food security projects, Malta community also.
Yeah.
In 2010 in the first phase.
Yeah.
So finally in the second part of the project, what is that exclusively you would say that This is what we learned from this implementation.
The community unity is very important because if there is a unity, then it helps the community to achieve more. Community unity as well as convincing and encouraging communities to practice the advanced technology which is replicable in the society, in the communities. In our last food security project, we have seen that maltos were able to do kitchen garden, which was not their which they were not doing any kitchen garden. That was not their earlier practices, but they start doing kitchen garden, which became a part and parcel of their day-to-day life, and due to which they could get the nutritional food for their family as well as additional some amount for their home. So it has also contributed to their income. And we have seen that when we create a demonstration in the community, when farmers see the result, then because malto farmers are generally, they are very hesitant to replicate, hesitant to practice a new technology, anything. So they need to see the result. So therefore, what we have seen that if you have to select some advanced farmers or some farmers who are willing to take risk and implement good practice, do demonstration in those farmers and create an impact. When the farmers see the result in their eyes, then this it motivate them to practice. So they need to see the result in their eyes, physically they need to see the result. When the results are tangible, when they see it, they are interested to practice. So we have seen that we had selected few farmers and we have introduced some new technologies which the farmers has seen, like example like SRIs. In SRIs, the farmers has seen that it has the yield has almost double, triple. So when farmers saw that, we don't have to convince them. Automatically, the other farmers who are not doing that, they will also take interest to do that. So initially, whenever we introduce any new technology to the communities, it is better not to give each and every families, but select some advanced farmer. Advanced, I mean to say that somebody who wants to take risk, who are willing to do some hard work. Select maybe 4 or 5 farmers from each village and implement those good practices, the best practices, new technology, and see and show the result to the communities, and that motivates them. So we have seen that. So it is good to create a demonstration in the project, and that will be helpful. And yeah, that is.
Yeah.
And yeah, and
So,
one thing, Reddy sir,
yeah.
one important factor, that SHG's the saving of money was not a habit of the any Malto family, but due to the project they started in. I'm talking about the last previous food security project that has very significantly contributed the saving of money. The women could start saving the money, and that because of that money, the dependency on money lenders that had reduced there. So that give a confidence, and that the women are more encouraged.
Mm.
Since women started contributing in the income of the family. So what happened, Reddy sir, the family people started taking they started sharing in the decision making. The family started taking women seriously. They started giving respect to the women. So there is the women esteem has improved. Women the respect for women has improved. So because they started contributing to the family economically.
Mm.
Definitely women's, what happens, women definitely contribute to the families, but people don't recognize unless and until it is economic contribution, unless and
Mm.
until they contribute something economically.
Mm.
But due to the self-help groups, since women started contributing to the family, so they started getting the respect from the male, their husband, or maybe other members of the family. So that is a very significant changes I had seen that. So women empowerment and connecting women to the self-help groups is very important.
Okay. So because you are at the senior level in the organization and also dealing as an organization, especially with the on project reporting, then donor reporting, donor relationships, financial management. So all these aspects. So what are the lessons learned in this aspect?
First thing that, as I mentioned in my first interviews, that the proposal, all the proposal has to come from the communities. The planning that we do, the planning has to come from the communities. We have to take their consent and discuss with them. That is the very basic principle in the development. So my work, our work in headquarters is only just to furnish the proposal, but all the contents, it all comes from the field. That is very important. The learning is, we are not here to do any we are only to fine tune the proposal or reports, but the actual report comes from the field, from the project. That is the learning. And one main learning is, sometimes what happens, we have to we do not have to be we have to be suppose in a one particular context, what we have learned, not necessarily the same learnings will be applicable in other projects. So all our intervention has to be a contextual intervention. For example, we also work in Rajasthan, we work in Madhya Pradesh, we work in Bihar, and each of those states are very different in their context. Maltos are very different than Mushahar communities. Musahars are very different from the Chenchu community. So not necessarily the what we have learned from a one location or one project necessarily that will be replicable in other location. So we have to be contextual. When we develop any proposal, it has to be the context, it has to be contextual, not because somewhere it has made a success that will be successful in that particular communities. So that is a very important lesson that we have learned. Yes, definitely in all our project evaluation we do share, but not necessarily those learnings will be applicable to each and every project, because contexts are different, communities are different, their IQ levels are different. You know, Malto, you have already worked, you have seen Maltos. Their IQ levels, even sometimes they forget their children's name also. So they forget many things. So the IQ level, you teach something now, maybe after 1 hour they forget everything. So the IQ levels, the context and everything they live is very different. So that is one thing. So we have to see the context and design the proposal or report and everything. And another learning for us is the team that they work, they need to be subject expert. Suppose somebody is working on livelihood, then the team working on livelihood has to be livelihood expert.
Yeah.
And they need to also understand the current trend in the country as well as in the states. And they need to understand the government programs, what are the government programs are available, so that they can help the community to access those programs. So that is also very important. And yeah,
relation to the donors and other
yeah,
things, how do you explain?
relations to the donor. Yeah, it is working with TF Canada and CFGB. Indeed, it is a privilege for us to work with them, and we have learned a lot working with them, because in terms of relation, we have a very good relationship with them, and they have been for our partnerships, maybe for few decades we have a partnership with them, and we know each other very well, and we respect each other very well, and also we support each other. In terms of learning from CFG, because I directly deal with a donor, I can say that before I send any report, I need to think many times the report that I am sharing with you, because they are very in details. For anything you write, they go through each line, each point. So they are very in details people, they are very qualitative. When they review the documents, they go through, they looked at in a very different lens and very different angles. which actually, in fact, it is helpful, especially for my team, me and my team. So we learned a lot working, especially with TF1 Canada and CFGB, because the way they ask questions is helpful for us. It's kind of a training for us, and we learned a lot of things from them. And as far as the relation, as I have mentioned earlier, we have a very good relationship. We respect each other, and we cherish our partnership with them.
Good. So financial management and other things, how it was, like the lessons learned?
Financial management, they are very good. I mean to say that we have a project agreements which clearly spell out what is the financial transaction has to be, and if any expenses more than $1,000, we have to produce those. We have to submit those bills to them. We have to send the scan copies. We also send all the payroll staffs whose salaries are budgeted in our project. We also share our invoice, our salary invoice with them, and all things are very transparent. And they comes once in a while, and they look at our financial system, and we also share our financial manual with them. And so there is a more transparency in the financial system with us, and we don't have any problems. As per the agreement, they do share us the grant, and according to the agreement, all the transactions are taking place, and according to our budget, we try to, if there is any variance, any special permission is required, we do ask their permission, because if there are some variance, some extra budget or some extra additional grant we require or something, then we do get their permission. Without their permission, we don't spend anything which is not budgeted.
Okay. So reporting and other things were okay, the systems established in this project?
Yeah, they have a robust reporting system. Especially, they are very particular about indicator tracking table, very particular about performance management framework, and they have their own reporting format, that is CFGB reporting format, which we all are working on it. And time to time, they do change. They do bring different changes in the reporting system, which also they also train us, and we are being trained by them, and we are familiar with those formats, and we try to follow the same formats.
Maybe you could say a few things about what are the things that could have been better in this relationship between donor and EFICOR.
Oh, okay.
Would have been better if you could work out together.
Yeah. Certain time what happens, it is a food security project, but in certain location, sometime what happens, food only is not the necessary things. There are some other needs which is very urgent need or pressing need of that community. But CFGB is very particular about only food security. So I find that I think it is also time, because of climate change, people are losing the jobs. There is a lot of migration are taking place, and food may not be the primary need of the community, but there are other needs which is very urgent need. So maybe CFGB can also think about intervening not only about food security and nutrition, but the other pressing need of the communities. Otherwise, CFGB is very good organization. CFGB and TF1 Canada, the very good organization, very professional in their dealings, and yeah, they are since it's an international organization, all their policies, everything they follow internationally, and yeah.
If you want to do again a project with the Maltose in the same area, geographic area, what are the 5 things that you would work on, give priority, which you think these things are very much required based on the learning?
Yeah, now we will be doing now we don't want to do any in terms of the programmatic intervention. Because we do not know now, since we are trying to do a situational assessment in Amrapada is it's the nearest block of now the current block, Litipada block. So we don't want to go with a pre-mind saying that okay, we are going to work in this sector or that sector. Therefore, we are going to do a situational assessment in that location, and we will do a qualitative as well as quantitative as well as qualitative study and find out what is the need of that communities, what they have and what they do not have. So we will try to do a lot of various PRA and try to get what is the need of the community, and accordingly we will develop. But however, since Litipada is very close close block of the Amrapada, so there are a lot of practices. What is now from this evaluation report, what is the good best practices can be replicated in that project. We will consider of taking those best practices of Amrapada to the Litipada. From Litipada we will take those best practices to the Amrapada. So best, but however, we do not know what is the need of that community, because we only based on the secondary data we are going there, but we will collect the primary information and afterwards we will develop the proposal. So as it will be very early to say what is that we are going to do. Based on the need of the communities, we will intervene there. But definitely the best practices from this project as well as earlier Pakur as well as earlier Saigon food security project, we will try to replicate those things.
Okay. Are there anything that is related to staff that are deployed in this project? Learnings from the staff?
Yeah,
But I mentioned few about how the staff should be and all that, but is there anything more?
Staff, it actually impact when the staff leave in between and when the new staff join. It actually affect because Maltose community, you also need to learn the language, learn the culture, and we have to come to that level if we want to work with the Maltose. So a new staff, when new staff join in the project, it definitely impact in the project implementation. And when the staff turnover, all the staff remain for a long time, definitely it is helpful for the project. But when some staff leave for due to some personal reason or some other reason, it affect the project.
How did the COVID situation affect the overall project implementation?
It has affected very badly. It has affected very badly. I mean to say that everybody were spectacle, and they had a fear. Even though our staff had very good relationship with our communities, and however they had a fear, which is true, because it is spreading from one person to another person. So our team were not able to travel to the community, and there was a travel restriction. So there was a complete lockdown. That time our project team could not go to the communities. Even though after the lockdown was over, it was lifted. Then after that also community were not willing, even though they had a good relationship, but they had a fear. And because our project, we used to call them in a big group. Now what has happened now, we are calling a small group to adhere to the protocol of the COVID. So we wanted to provide training in a small group. Earlier, for example, we used to call 30 or 40 people. Now maybe 10 or 15 people will call them and organize the training. So it has impacted our project intervention.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a support like direct money transfer to the communities
Yes, we have
to cope
we have
with this COVID situation.
yeah.
So how this helped? Otherwise, our project interventions, all this helped the community to cope.
Yeah, very actually what happens due to the lockdown, those people who migrated, who had gone back to their village, they had no job at all. because they had to migrate from Kolkata, they had to migrate from various metro where they were working, they had to migrate, go back to their home, and they were there in the home just without any work or any job or without any money. So in that circumstances, in that period of time, they need money for their survival. So in that time, we did a survey. We could able to get their account number, and from the headquarter directly we transfer the money. So it was very helpful for them. That they could able to purchase medicine. They could able to purchase some of the household essential household items. Some purchase rice, some purchase some other essential items, some they purchase medicine. So it was very important time, because no government service were able to reach that time, because government and all the staffs were also afraid to go to the villages and provide the services like ration. PDS, public distribution system, also was impacted for 1 or 2 months, and that time even market also it was not open all the day. So that time they need money, so we had provided the money, and we have provided some awareness programs to them, given them awareness how to prevent from the COVID, because they all stay in a very remote location and not knowing anything what is happening around. So that time our staff went there, and our staff had communicated them. Our staff have given them orientation about COVID, how to prevent it. So it was a very big help for them to protect, as well as able to purchase some essential items for their families. And interestingly, we also not only provided the cash transfer, we also provided cash for work, which happened due to that. It has also helped them to get work at the home, and weekly they could able to get money from us. Weekly we used to transfer the money to their account according to the work that they have done. Each day 300 rupees, and each family 30 days we have given work, which is very very big help for them, because even they would have worked in the government system, they don't get money regularly, they will get after very long period of time, but our money went immediately after the work they have completed. So in that crucial time, we helped them, and it was very help for them. I think you would have also talked to the community directly. I hope it was a very helpful for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I spoke with community and saw the impacts also.
Yeah.
Another thing is related to sustainability. The Malto community, they usually require lots of hand-holding, as you also expressed. They need support to continue. So can they continue now some of the initiatives started by through this project and the learning that they have, the things that they have adopted, or the networking and communications that they developed in the project, and many other outcomes that they achieved. So would they continue all this beyond without the support of EFICOR?
Yes, definitely. I hope, because what I have seen last time in Sahibganj, many of the practices, even after few years, we went there and we have seen that community is practicing. For example, kitchen garden is one among them. Even after, I think, leaving the Sahibganj, after 4 or 5 years, we had gone there and seen that those people are now continuously doing kitchen garden, which is very good thing. Those women are continuously saving money, which is also good thing. And the livestock, all those techniques that to take care of the livestock, small techniques, those were taught to the community. Every villages, we had a village veterinary assistant who was helping the community members in providing the preliminary or primary services. So those continued. So definitely those will continue. And most importantly, our project team has helped the community in bridging the gap between community and government. That will continue. Those CBO members, those farmers group who started accessing those government services, definitely they will continue to access those government services, which I hope that those network collaboration will continue, and community will continuously access those government services, because the fear, earlier they had fear to go to the government office and ask for a services, ask for a schemes. Now to a larger extent, I believe those fears have gone now. So they are confident to go and ask the government officials for their services, for the schemes and entitlements. So those will continue, and the skills and knowledges that has been taught to them from the project, by the project, that will continue. What I have seen in Sahibganj, that SRI, they started without we are there, communities start doing SRI by their own, because they have seen the result. And sustainable what is that, another conservation agriculture, those
Yeah.
yeah, conservation agriculture, those small tips what has been taught to them by our project team, that will continue, because those are skills already they have learned that skills, and they have seen the result. So therefore I believe definitely those will continue.
Okay, this livestock interventions and women
Yeah.
and health, especially prenatal and
Prenatal,
postnatal,
yeah,
something.
antenatal,
Yeah,
antenatal,
prenatal and
postnatal,
yeah.
postnatal, because those are key health behaviors.
Mm.
The through the behavior change communication activities, our community, our project team have taught them about hand washing, about visiting the health institution for the accessing the antenatal care, visiting the hospital for institutional care, visiting the Anganwadi center for postnatal care, and ensuring that those children weigh regularly, and ensuring that the child growth are maintained regularly, so that they can see whether the child is growing or not. So those practices, those household level practices will continue, as well as the care seeking behavior. What they have started seeking the care from the health services will continue to do that. I hope they will continue to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good, Prashant ji. It was nice for me also having
yeah.
visited this project,
Thank you, sir.
and
Thank
I
you.
could see so much development and especially hygiene. I was very much surprised, and
Yeah,
the organic aspects of agriculture.
yeah,
So I think the livestock and all types of activity that they are doing were very much impressive.
yeah,
And we do get the baseline data comparison now based on the current situation.
yeah,
So we would know the indicators also.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much for
Thank you.
this interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye.